Hey guys, what's going on? It's Miles of Vinciguerra with a new video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 energy blocks. Okay? If you watched my last video called What is Energy Leadership? I'm going to put it right here. Okay? In case you haven't seen it, I suggest you go back and take a look at it and just take a good look at it and just go into it with an open mind, because I'm bringing a lot of information and it's all brand new information. So I understand that you might not fully understand it, right? And what I talked about, but I want to help you clear that up. So what I talked about in this video called What is Energy Leadership, I really talked about how our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings or emotions dictate the actions that we take in life, and specifically when we're going to achieve our goals, right? So, and I mean, in terms of a coaching-client relationship, right? Because I want to help you achieve your goals, right? And the process of the concept of our thoughts creating our feelings and emotions, and our emotions and feelings creating our actions. I mean, that's with everything in life. That is with everything in life, because we, as I said in the energy leadership video, we know we can't really control what happens to us in life, but we can control how we respond to them and how we respond to things. So in this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the 4 energy blocks. Okay? These are the 4 things that when I'm coaching a client, when I'm coaching you in this instance, and we're talking about your goals, and we get to the point in the coaching session where I ask something along the lines of, okay, well, what's the challenge? What's the challenge that you're experiencing when you're trying to achieve this goal of X? Okay? It's mostly whatever that challenge is, it's going to be one of these 4 things. Okay? And keep in mind how we think creates our emotions, and our feelings create our feelings. Okay? So the first one, the first energy block, and this is by far probably the most powerful energy block, okay, is what we call, is what we call the inner gremlin. This is your inner critic, okay? And the inner critic looks something like, let's see, come up with an example. The inner critic looks like the person that says, I don't deserve a great relationship. I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified enough. I don't deserve the health. I don't deserve that job, right? A lot of these things are kind of unconscious. We think these things unconsciously, and that's normal, by the way. This is normal. But what I love about coaching is that I help you overcome these things. I help you overcome. And by the way, just because I'm a coach does not mean my life is perfect, does not mean I have like a world-class mindset, and does not mean that I experience these things, because I absolutely do. Okay? And I've just learned through coaching how to shift it, right? And how to overcome these things. Okay? So keep in mind that if our thoughts create our emotions, right? It really starts with the thought. So if the thought of when we're trying to look for a new job, right? And we're like thinking about applying to that job, or thinking about starting that business, and we're thinking to ourselves, man, but I'm just not good enough. I'm not qualified enough to do that. Right? That is going to definitely affect how you're showing up and achieving that goal, right? Because it's going to create that emotion of, you're either definitely in the last video I talked about 7 different energy levels. You're either in energy level 1 or 2, which would be the victim mindset, right? Or just in complete anger, or just really frustrated, and we can typically tell just by how a client sounds and how you sound in a coaching session. Okay, so the number 1, the inner critic, definitely one of the strongest ones we have. If something's coming up for you where you think that you've experiencing this, definitely get on a call with me so I can help you shift that, and I can help you, I can address the tool. We can actually talk about it, okay? And I can help you shift that energy, right? Because, yeah, keep in mind just the energy, right? What's the energy that we're bringing into when we're achieving our goals, okay? So the first one, the inner critic, that is one of the biggest ones that's gonna, and it's a major one. A lot of people experience that, and by the way, it's completely normal, okay? Number 2 energy block is limiting beliefs, okay? Limiting beliefs, the things that, what we're believing about an event or about something, like a goal or something that we're trying to achieve, how we believe it is that is definitely going to affect, if it's a limiting belief, that's definitely going to affect how we're showing up in life. That's definitely going to affect your energetic presentation, right? So just as an example, I talk about my metal band a lot on this video. I link to our YouTube, I'll link to the album, but if I had the limiting belief that, I just don't believe that there's a market for a metal band in Massachusetts. I just don't believe that, I had a landscaping business before. I just don't believe that there's a market for a startup landscaping business in Blackstone, Massachusetts, from where I'm from. Okay? I don't believe that my clients have the money to pay me to do landscaping. Okay? That is absolutely going to affect you achieving that goal of starting that business, or achieving the goal of, what was the first example? Help me understand. What was the first example? The metal band. If that's going to hinder you from achieving the goal of starting your band or starting music, right? Because that limiting belief is getting in the way. Okay? This is it's not deep stuff, but it definitely, these things and how we talk to ourselves and the things that we say in our mind, it definitely affects how we're showing up. Okay? And we've been given, me as a coach, through my training, has been given specific tools and specific ways to help you overcome these obstacles, because these are blocks. It's like a wrench in the gear. The gear's spinning right, and it gets caught up. Okay, so the second one, limiting beliefs. Okay, a limiting belief around an event, that pertains to a goal or pertains to accomplishing some type of task. Okay. The third one, I see this a lot in like workplaces. I see this a lot in corporate environments, is interpretations. Yeah. And interpretations are specifically, they're defined as judgments made about an event with little to no facts. Judgments made with little to no facts. Okay? But keep in mind, because the judgment is that thought, right? The judgment is what's coming up. And when we're interpreting things in the real world, in life, with little to no facts, it changes who we are. Okay? So a great example of this is, when we're in a relationship with somebody, okay, and we see that they're texting, right? I'm just giving a very broad, I'm sure that this comes up a lot because I just see a lot of memes about this, so I should make a point about this. But when we see them texting, right, and we think in our mind, remember, an interpretation is a judgment made with little to no facts. And when we think in our mind, like, oh, who are they texting? Like, are they talking to somebody? Who are they talking to? Please, yeah, I should have said this in the beginning. Stick around to the end of the video so you can get all 4. Okay? But, who are they texting? Oh, man, maybe they're texting someone else. Maybe they're texting, I don't know, their ex, right? And that changes how we show up in a relationship with our partner, right? Because we're making the interpretation it's a judgment made with little to no facts. Okay? And some of these things can be very, very similar, right? Like they're like this close to each other, like a limiting belief. You could almost say that it's a limiting belief, but it depends how it's in relation to you. And it depends on specifically, because it's not a judgment, it's just a belief, right? And okay, so let's think about this. I saw this a lot when I worked at a big grocery store, okay? And I worked at the meat department. The meat department was completely swamped. Like there's probably 50 customers during Thanksgiving, next week's Thanksgiving. There's like 50 customers sitting in front of the case, right? And there's another associate and he's behind the case and he's putting some stuff away and we're getting backed up, right? Because we got so many clients to handle, right? And I would see this a lot. I would make this own judgment, which was specifically, like, oh man, like why don't they want to help us? Like why? Like, oh, he must not be a team player. He probably doesn't care. He's probably just lazy, right? That's a judgment we made with little to no facts. Because keep in mind, there are things that are true, right? Could be true. Could be true. And there are things that there are truth, like truth. There are things that are complete truth, right? So as a coach, I would ask you, so if you're making an interpretation like that, which by the way is completely normal, we are humans where we think, we just think and we come up with conclusions in our mind. So if I'm coaching you in that scenario and you were like, man, like I'm trying to become more engaged with my employees and I don't, I just see that sometimes it seems like they're not working on what, I asked them to do. Or it seems like they're spending a ton of time doing X, Y, and Z. When we're swamped behind the case, when we're swamped at the counter, they're not helping, right? Remember, that's going to affect, if the goal is to help it create more engagement or to create a better relationship, and you're thinking to yourself, it just seems like my significant other is texting someone all the time, that judgment is going to specifically affect you achieving that goal of a better relationship or creating more engagement with your employees or whatever the case may be. Okay? So as a coach, I would ask you, like, completely understandable that you would think that way, right? Because if you see that someone's acting like that, I mean, it's definitely going to make you feel like they're not part of the team or make you feel like, I don't know, your partner could be doing something, right? I'm just making a very, very broad example, okay? So my goal here is to shift your energy. So I would ask, right? Because remember, our thoughts create our feelings. And the emotions dictate how we show up in life. So that judgment is affecting how you're showing up, right? So I would specifically ask, well, what would someone with the complete opposite... Number one, let me go back. I would ask, well, can I challenge you on this? Can I challenge your perspective? What if would you be open to seeing it from a different light if I can challenge your perspective? Right? Client always says yes. You're here because you want to be coached, right? Okay, great. So what would someone with a complete opposite point of view say? What would someone with a complete opposite point of view say? Right? Oh, okay. And the client will probably say something like, because I'm trying to shift that energy to a more anabolic one. If you remember in the energy leadership video, I talked about there's two types of energy, catabolic and anabolic energy. So if you are having that judgment, this is predominantly going to be catabolic energy. You want to move you into a more anabolic state. Okay? This stuff is very, very true, by the way. Okay? So, like, you can be in a coaching session and you can get hit with this question and be like, oh my God, like, oh wow. Like you can feel something inside of us changes. It's totally, totally true. And then even after the coaching session, when you get challenged like this, you're still like thinking about what just happened, right? Because you're with me for an hour or half an hour, like there's going to be a lot of empowering questions. There's going to be a lot of challenging, right? There's going to be a lot of shifting perspectives. You're going to be seeing things from a new light. Right? And shifting your own energy, right? Because my job is to empower you, right? So what someone would say in that scenario is, well, what would someone with a complete opposite point of view say? You would specifically say something like, oh, okay, well, they're probably just texting their mom, right? My girlfriend's probably just, texting her coworker, right? Okay, well, that's great. Well, what can you do to find out more? Okay? Because remember, if you're thinking about the boyfriend-girlfriend scenario, when you approach, hey, who you texting? Like, you probably wouldn't sound that energetic. I mean, I feel good right now, but, oh, who you talking to, right? Oh, dude, I think my girlfriend's talking to someone, right? You're moving to a catabolic mode, okay? Or when you're making that judgment about your employee or about your coworker, right? Oh, dude, like they never. You tell your buddy, and then the emotions perpetuate, and you tell your coworker who you work with, like, dude, that dude is always slacking. You know what I mean? Why isn't he helping us out? Yeah, because that judgment is affecting you, right? So when I challenge you in that moment, I'm going on about interpretations. But I see it a lot. When you're going on about the interpretations, and you're making that judgment, and I specifically ask you what someone with a complete opposite point of view say, you know what? Well, they're just part of the team, and they're just, it's their responsibility to stock the case, or it's their responsibility to, in the terms of like a manager, right? It's the manager's role to talk with customers, right? Talk with customers. New thought, new feeling, new action. Okay? So you can move into that, like, it's not just about achieving goals. It's about addressing the block, right? So that's the third one, interpretations. This video is getting long, okay? But I hope you're sticking around to the end, and if you are, thank you so much. Thank you so much, because I'm really passionate about this stuff, and I just love coaching, and I just love this concept. It blew my mind. It blew my mind, okay? So the fourth one, and I'll make it quick, is called assumptions. The fourth energy block is assumptions, okay? In our lives, sometimes we can see assumptions as interpretations, like we're assuming something to be the way it is. We're assuming something that it might not be. Because remember, keep in mind, there's things that are true, and there are things that are truth, okay? So an assumption, is manifested into life as, first let me define it. An assumption is that something has happened before, that it will happen again. Specifically when we're trying to achieve our goals and when we're showing up in life. That's something that because something has happened before in our lives, that it will happen again. Again, I see this a lot in the workplace. I see this a lot when I look back onto me owning a landscaping business, I saw this a lot in my landscaping business. When I would do work for a client, right, I would, oh my God, job looks impeccable. To me, job looks impeccable. And they come back to me and they're like, dude, that's not how I wanted it. Or like, they're just upset. Or when I give a quote, like, I'm like, yeah, your job is going to be $1,500. Trimming your bushes and putting in the mulch. When it's going to be, and they say to me, oh, no, that's not good. No, absolutely not. No way. Right? And then let's just say I overcome the objection, or I drop my price and I'm like, okay, I sell them on $1,700 or whatever. Right? And then they call me up a month later. So remember, an assumption is that because something has happened before, that it will happen again. So it's when they call me up, or when your client will call you up, that same client that objected you, and that same client that maybe wasn't happy with whatever, or you had some problem at work, they call you up and they say, hey, I want to do business again. And in your mind, you think to yourself, oh man, like they're not going to go for it. They're not going to go for it the first time, right? Making the assumption that because it has happened before, that it's meant to happen again, right? Like the last time you asked your partner to, I don't know, do something, go to the grocery store, and they forgot, right? Say that they forgot to go to the store, okay? And so now, like, so you get home, you talk to your significant other or whatever, and then you go to the store, blah, blah, blah. Week passes, you got to ask him again. You got to ask him to go to the store again. And then you're like, damn, well, the last time I asked him, They didn't do it. So what makes it true that they'll do it again? You know, what makes it true that they'll, I shouldn't even bother, because they're just not even going to do it. Because the last time I asked them, they didn't do it. Right? This is an assumption that because something has happened before, that it'll happen again. And it definitely is an energy block to you achieving your goals, right? Or let's say you're getting back into the gym, or you're getting into a healthy, a more healthy eating routine. Okay? And dude, the last time I worked out, I just couldn't stick with it. So I'm not even going to bother. Because the last time I did it, didn't work. Okay? This is known as an assumption. Okay? And specifically, I have tools that can help you, and I have skills and coaching skills that can help you overcome that and challenge that perception and shift that perspective, so you can move from an anabolic state, so you can move from a catabolic state to a more anabolic one, right? Because yes, I'm here to help you achieve your goals. Yes, we will do goal setting. We will develop accountability in the strategy and all the things that you can do. If we see each other every single week, we will hit those things, right? But if we don't address the energy behind achieving them and how you're showing up, right, it will really do you no good, because we want to empower you. I don't want you to rely on my coaching skills. I want to shift you from a place so it's more of an anabolic place, and so you can show up and achieve greater results with less stress. And that's really what this is about. Okay? So guys, this has been a long video. I really hope you stuck around to the end. If you have, drop a like, comment down below what you think, right? All new stuff. Think about how these things show up in your life, right? Think about the inner critic. Think about the interpretations, the limiting beliefs, the assumptions, right? All these things will definitely impact us, me and you, right? To how we're showing up in our lives, okay? So hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please give it a like. If you've gained any value from this video, subscribe to the channel, click the little notification bell. Okay, I'm going to be releasing my audiobook soon for my book, When Living Without, Discover What's Within, helping teenagers and young adults growing up without a father. I'm really, really excited to release that audiobook because I believe that it will, really help a lot of people. And I look forward to giving you guys, bringing you guys the next video. Okay, so think about those things. Okay, and if you want to work with me, go to my website, www.coachmilesv.com. Okay, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Scroll. Click the call button and get on the phone with me. Okay, hello. Hey, Coach Miles V. Yeah, it was good. So we can talk about this stuff, okay? Because I just want to help. All right, guys, be great. Shred life. I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, by the way, go up here to my Metal Band's Soul Trap YouTube channel, okay? Go down to the bottom. You can see it in the link at the bottom of this video too. And you guys can download my first metal album for free. Okay? Be good. Shred life. Peace out.